Hey, Focus Learners, welcome back to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are going to unpack a massive, truly historic shift that's happening right in front of our eyes. We're looking at how we think about our livelihoods, our time, and ultimately our future. We're going to cut through all the noise, all those wild headlines about the changing economy, and distill it down to figure out exactly what's going on. We are moving beyond the clock, exploring the fascinating evolution of modern work. Okay, let's dive into this. For generations, the formula for success was an incredibly simple five-step process. I mean, it's practically baked into our cultural DNA at this point, right? First, you get a good education. Second, you find a stable job. Third, you put in your hours, working that standard 9 to 5. Fourth, you spend decades just climbing that corporate ladder. And finally, step 5, you retire comfortably. For decades, this baseline provided immense comfort and, tangible financial security for millions of families. It was the unquestioned blueprint for life. But today, that blueprint is facing a massive reality check. Something drastic is shifting. Millions of people are literally leaving traditional office jobs and just walking away from that old five-step formula. So the stark question we have to ask ourselves today, and exactly what we're going to answer in this explainer, is simply this. Is the 9 to 5 actually dying? And if it is, what on earth is replacing it? So here's our roadmap for connecting all these tech buzzwords into one cohesive narrative. We'll start with the industrial 9 to 5 legacy, then look at the remote and creator revolutions. Next, we'll tackle the AI disruption, followed by the multi-career reality. And finally, we'll figure out who wins the future. All right, part 1, the industrial 9 to 5 legacy. The 9 to 5 workday wasn't just handed down from on high at the dawn of humanity. It specifically emerged during the industrial age, popularized by companies like Ford Motors, simply because factories needed workers physically synchronized in one place to run the machinery. And over time, that rigid factory model just kind of copy-pasted itself into offices and businesses globally. But contrast that old system with the rapid acceleration of the internet era, the smartphone era, and now the AI era. It's wild to think about, but the system was built for a time before any of these modern technologies even existed. Now, what's really interesting about this is that despite its factory origins, the traditional 9 to 5 model wasn't all bad. In fact, it offered a phenomenal foundation of stability. You had predictable income, reliable health benefits, a clear path for career growth. For millions of families, this was the absolute bedrock of financial security. It was a trade-off, really. You gave your time in a fixed location, and the company took care of your basic economic safety. That was the unwritten contract of the 20th century, well, before technology totally disrupted it. Moving right along to Section 2, Remote and Creator Revolutions. So the first massive shift was entirely about location. We traded the physical limitations of conference rooms and bulky filing cabinets for the location-independent freedom of video calls and cloud software. Suddenly, technology made it possible to collaborate across cities, countries, literally continents in real time. And you know what happened? People discovered they could be wildly productive without sitting under fluorescent lights all day long. Companies realized they could drastically slash their real estate costs, while employees gained unprecedented freedom. The whole idea that work absolutely must happen in one specific physical location, it suddenly became totally outdated. And right alongside that remote shift, a completely new, decentralized career path just exploded onto the scene: the creator economy. We're talking a massive ecosystem here. YouTube, podcasts, independent newsletters, online courses, social media monetization, digital products. Instead of working for some faceless company, millions of people are out there building personal brands. They're creating their own economies. And honestly, some of these individuals are earning way more than traditional professionals by stocking multiple income streams together into these highly lucrative, entirely digital businesses. And this brilliantly illustrates the true scale of what we're talking about. Just listen to this. For the first time in history, an individual with a laptop and internet connection can build a global audience. I want you to just pause and let the power of that statement sink in. The old barriers to entry have been completely obliterated. You don't need a factory. You don't need a fancy office tower. Work has become radically decentralized and accessible for millions of people all around the world. Okay, let's jump into Section 3, the AI disruption. Look, if remote work and the creator economy were earthquakes, artificial intelligence is the tectonic plates completely shifting beneath us. This is not science fiction. This is happening this very minute. AI can instantly write detailed reports, analyze massive data sets, create visual presentations, generate marketing content, handle frontline customer service, and just automate countless repetitive tasks. It is absolutely staggering how fast businesses across the globe are adopting these AI tools right now, purely because they drastically improve efficiency and slash overhead costs. So, the crucial point here is that the arrival of AI doesn't necessarily mean all human jobs are just going to vanish into thin air, but it absolutely forces a choice. Ignore AI, and you face increasing competition. Learn AI, and you become dramatically more productive. The future workplace isn't going to be some sci fi battle of humans versus machines. It's going to demand humans and AI working tightly together. Which brings us to Section 4, the multi-career reality. This is the natural, unavoidable results of remote software, the creator economy, and AI all converging simultaneously on the modern worker. The 20th century model was defined by spending decades with a single employer in a single profession. You picked a lane at age 22 and you stayed in it. But today's model, it is incredibly dynamic. It involves side hustles, freelance projects, running online businesses, managing investment income, and honestly, often holding multiple, entirely different careers over a lifetime. The fading concept of a single lifelong profession is rapidly being replaced by this unpredictable but highly flexible reality of juggling diverse income streams. And this represents the ultimate paradigm shift in modern employment. The future may belong to adaptable workers rather than loyal employees. Loyalty to a single corporation used to be the absolute safest bet you could make. Today, your safety net isn't a corporation anymore. Your safety net is your own adaptability. Let's move to our final piece of the puzzle, Section 5. Who wins the future? Because listen, every major economic shift creates opportunities for some and challenges for others. That's just a fact. The traits required to thrive in this new era are crystal clear. The winners are those who continuously learn new skills, enthusiastically embrace new technology, and actively build multiple income streams so they aren't totally reliant on a single point of failure. Basically, they adapt quickly to market changes. The stark reality we all have to face is that technological revolutions rarely wait for people to catch up. Now, the 9-to-5 job isn't disappearing overnight, and millions are still going to work traditional careers for sure. But these combined forces, remote work, digital entrepreneurship, AI, they're creating a new economic landscape faster than literally anything we've witnessed before. The ground is moving right beneath our feet. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought. The next decade may transform work more than the last 50 years combined. So the biggest question isn't whether the future of work is changing. We know it is. The real question is, are you preparing for it? Think about how you can adapt first, because the people who adapt first are going to have the greatest advantage. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer focused to learners. Keep adapting, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.